Welcome to Crafty Chemist Designs. Today I have a great project for you. But first, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so that you are alerted every time I drop a new video. On to the project. This video is part of a monthly card making hop hosted by Valley Oak Paper. Summer Rest and Relaxation is the theme for July 2025. Find more inspiration in the videos linked below in the description. I decided to make a fun pop-up card that can hold a gift card using the Notes and Totes bundle by Stampin' Up. I chose it because of the fun beach theme. We're going to start by using an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. I'm using pecan pie, and you cut it vertically at 4 1/4 and then fold it in half like a tent card. And I'm going to use my bone folder to do the seam. And we will start by making the pop-up part using the tote die that's in the bundle. And I'm using the Woven Textures paper that's perfect for this. It looks like a bag. One side is kind of a rattan print and the other is a like a linen weave. And I'm using my mini stamp cut and emboss machine, and I'm going to line up the die so that those two diamonds are sort of right in the center, and then run it through. You do need 2 of these since it is a 3D tote. So here I'm running it through the second time. And I'm going to try and match up the design so it looks similar on the front and the back of the tote. So I'm running it through a second time. I love this paper. And now let's cut out the handle and the little tag design. I'm going to use some brown colored cardstock. I believe it's Mocha from Close to My Heart. And there are 2 different handles that you can use in this set. I'm using that one, and then there is the little tag. There's also little like a buckle, but I'm not going to use that on my card, but it's part of the tag die. And like the tote, you're going to need 2 of these. So all of the Stampin' Up dies have little holes that you can use to help you pull out the pieces if they don't pop right out of the dies. So let's cut the second one. I thought this looked like some nice leather, so that's why I chose this color. And pop out the second handle. Okay, and so you'll notice it's hard to see on the screen, but there are some fold lines, some little score lines, and I'm going to fold along them and use my bone folder to sort of accentuate the fold, because this will help make the tote more 3D. Now there is a little part at the bottom that I'm going to cut off for this particular purpose, but if you were going to make a standalone 3D tote, which this does make, those pieces help hold the 2 sides together, and it provides a some of the paper design in the corners. Otherwise they would be open when you put the 2 pieces together. So first I'm going to put on the handles, and you only want to put adhesive on the little part that would be attached to the bag, not the handle part. Do the same for both sides. So add some adhesive, and then in order to get them to line up, I'm putting one on top of the other just as a guide to help me place the second one. And then I'm going to put on the little tag and put it right there in the center. Aren't they cute? They look like little beach bags, I thought. Perfect for this theme. And I am going to use score tape to secure these pieces together and to the card. here I am applying it. You need to use something that is fairly strong. So I'm using score tape. You could use Stamp & Seal Plus or Tombow glue if you prefer to use glue. I'm not that great at using glue. I get it everywhere, so I tend to avoid using it. I have a 1/2-inch score tape, so it's a little bit longer than, or like wider than the bottom piece, so I'm just trimming that off. Now I'm going to put the two pieces together, and here I decided it was just okay to use regular adhesive, but you could use more of the score tape if you wanted to. And then I'm just going to match up these side pieces, and basically these pieces are just to help you secure the two sides together. They go on the inside of your tote, so you don't really see them. Now we're going to take off the score tape backing, and I'm going to put it onto my card base, and you want to put it on either side of that fold line. And you make sure that it opens and closes well. Okay, so I'm happy with how it's opening and closing. Next, let's put the sort of backing pieces on one side. You can use a sentiment, and I put the similar piece on the other side just so they matched up and covered the little tabs. And I'm cutting these 3 3/4 by 5. Really, a 4 by 5 1/4 is a little bit too big. It doesn't give enough room for that tote to pop up. I'm going to stamp this side with a sentiment first before I glue it down, just in case I mess up. And on this one, I'm going to use just a note, just to show you the variety of sentiments that are available with the stamp set. So I guess it's not just a note because I'm going to be putting a gift card in there, but I like the sentiment. And so you can see this covers up the little tabs that hold my pop-up piece down. Now let's decorate the outside. I am going to use this piece of water paper. This is from the Utterly Adorable set, and I'm cutting it at 4 inches by 5 1/4. You can use any water colored paper that you have, or just use a blue watercolor. Now let's make the sand, and here I am using, it's called Almond from Close to My Heart, and I'm cutting it at 5 1/4, and then my strips are about 2 inches tall. This kind of varies depending on how much sand you want to put. And I'm going to take the darker side, this paper is two-tone, and just rip off the top part. If you rip pulling towards you, you're going to get that little white piece showing, which I really love. And then I'm going to put these down on my card. I'm putting the dark color sort of at the top because that, to me, that looks like wet sand, which is darker than the dry sand. So I'm putting the dry sand or the lighter color at the very bottom. So look how much that looks like a beach. I'm going to stamp the sentiment first to make sure I have room for it before I put up the picket fence. And I'm using the Relax and Enjoy sentiment, which I thought really went with this month's theme. Okay, so I'm putting it up there, sort of in the corner. Now let's make the fence. I am using the Country Wood paper, and there is a fence post die. You get 3 fence posts and 1 of the cross posts. On this one, I decided to use the white and kind of blue-brown color and run it through. So to make a fence like I made, you need to run this through twice because you need 2 rails and 6 fence posts. I love how these came out. It made it look like weathered weathered wood. You could just use like a wood color, like early espresso or even the pecan pie would work. So I'm going to run it through again. It will be all a little bit different, all of these rails, because the paper is very variegated. So it makes it look so nice. Okay, so I've got my 6 pieces and my 2 cross pieces. And what you will see is that there isn't really enough room to just use them whole. You have to cut off part of the bottom. If I had made this card going portrait, there would have been enough room to put the whole fence post in, but I'm cutting off about a 1/2 inch, it looks like. And so then I just start using the pieces as a guide. It looks really nice also if you make these sort of at different heights. It makes it really look rustic, so that's another option. Just cut off a little piece at each, however much you want. Here I'm trying to make mine look kind of even. And you want to sort of space it out first, and the main reason is because the cross piece is only so wide, so you need to make sure that you don't space the fence pieces too far apart from each other so that the rail doesn't go all the way across. Now you'll notice in the first sample, I put the cross piece behind the fence pieces. This one I decided to put it on top so you can see the difference. And you can choose to do whichever way you like. So I have my 6 pieces down, and now I'm going to put the cross pieces across. And I don't know if you can really tell in the video, but there are sort of indentations when you cut it out. When you in the die includes you can see little wood shaped kind of designs in that. Okay, so now let's cut the other pieces for my decoration. I'm using the shell, a little water bottle, and the starfish. For the conch shell, I'm using shortbread from Close to My Heart, and I'm using the dark side because this is two-toned cardstock. You can use anything that looks like a conch shell. I've even, on some of my cards, inked them up a little bit to make it look a little bit dirty, so using a little bit darker brown color to make it dirty. Here I'm using the papaya from Close to My Heart for the starfish. And the water bottle, I think that's Misty Moonlight from Stampin' Up. The water bottle does come with a little handle, which I did not use. I'm going to stamp the hibiscus on it using the Secret Sea new color from Stampin' Up. And that hibiscus is part of the Notes and Totes bundle, the stamp set. My ink pad is brand new, so it's very juicy, so I had to wipe some off the edge. And then I'm going to stamp it on the water bottle. It's a little bit bigger than the bottle, so I put a piece behind it to capture some of that ink. And now I'm just going to attach it there on the right where I left some opening, a little bit of room. Put the conch shell down and the starfish. There's also a set of glasses. There's a newspaper that you could put on. There's a lot of little pieces that you could add. I wanted to put a little seagull, so I have this friendly seagull set, and so every time I have an opportunity to use a seagull, I use this because I love those seagulls so much. So I'm just using some white cardstock and stamping the seagull in, and I'm just going to color him in with ice gray. This is a tri-blend marker. It's an alcohol marker, so I used black ink that, allowed you to use alcohol markers. And then that little kind of tan color for his beak and feet. And then I'm going to fussy cut him out. It's really fairly easy to cut this seagull out. I love the seagull because he looks like he is really squawking, which seagulls do. I think you've seen my videos. I did one page using this set where the seagull ate my Scottish pasty and was yelling at me, so I love that. And then I felt it was a little bit blank up in the corner, so there are some sort of seagulls in the sky, so I put it there. And there you have a fun little pop-up card that can hold a gift card. Isn't that a fun little set? And there's a nice picture showing it upright, and then a close-up of the front. I hope you enjoyed the project. The products seen in the video can be purchased at my website, thecraftychemist.stampinup.net. I have a Facebook group, Crafty Chemist Designs, where I go live and do demos every Sunday. I also have a Facebook VIP group, The Crafty Chemist Presents Stampin' Up. Find me on Instagram at Crafty Chemist Designs, TikTok at Crafty Chemist Designs, YouTube at Crafty Chemist Designs, and my blog, periodicallycrafty.blogspot.com.